Hello. Oh, nope, no one here yet. I said hello. Oh, there they come. Hi there. Nice to see you all. So there we go. Let me let everyone in and then we'll chat. Meanwhile, as I'm letting people in, go to the chat and give me a little hey ho hello or whatever you want to say in there. And seen some of you guys just barely an hour ago or less, and others of you I haven't seen in a while, 2 weeks. So hopefully everyone is making their way back. Sometimes when there's this just 1 week break, people kind of forget they were in a class and it's like, oh, everyone come on back. So hopefully everyone will slowly find their way in. Here we go, Tadia. So I was just attending the faculty in service, which is happening right now. And unfortunately, they put all these really interesting things and things that we have to attend on Fridays because most of the rest of City College doesn't actually teach on Fridays, except for non-credit. And so I spent my break in between the other class and this one, for those of you who are with me, attending a in-service. Hopefully my voice makes it all the way through. I do have some little throat lozenges because a little bit sick, not much, but a bit. And my voice 2 days ago just disappeared. It's back, but so I put a few new files in our down, in the folders that we have, the shared folders. You don't necessarily need to download them right now, but if you know how to get there and do that. I also put files to catch up to where we were. So if someone missed the last class, which was 2 weeks ago, not last week was spring break, but if 2 weeks ago you missed that class and you want to catch up to where we are, let me just share with you guys that I have a folder in the Digital Cycling Needs folder called April 1st Today Catch Up. And if you open that, then this is the InDesign file that we created at that point. And then these are the files that we imported into, basically just this one at this point, that we imported into that InDesign. So is there anyone here who wasn't, I'm signing in. Is there anyone here who wasn't here 2 weeks ago? I believe Candice, maybe you were not here 2 weeks ago, or am I wrong about that? Remember that if you're not here, you have to watch the recordings and create the work, but say that you didn't, then there's the file for you to continue on today. Don't forget to go down to the chat and sign in. There's more of you here than have signed in. And yeah, just as a announcement, my Photoshop class that I teach in the Friday mornings has finished today. And next week at 9 a.m., what starts is the Illustrator class. And I'll be teaching Illustrator Friday mornings and Digital Techniques Friday afternoons. So if you're interested in that, I didn't check. Last time I checked, I had 23 students. There's a max of 24. So if you try to sign up because you hadn't signed up and you get told that the class is closed, just let me know. And if I sign a piece of paper, I can let you in for those of you who are interested in taking it, who aren't in it yet. Okay. So just if that's you, then let me know. I can go check right now how many people are in it. In fact, I'll check in a minute. But yeah, so I want everyone to be able to access the registration. I'll look here in a minute for what all the Oh, I have so many things open because of the in-service that I was in. So I actually need to get back in there. So so Illustrator is as long as this one, so to say, in the sense that it's a total of 25 hours, but compressed into less days. So here it is. Here's a CRN. So it goes CRN for Illustrator, or I think it's Intro to Adobe Illustrator. So I just put it in the chat. And yeah, there's 23 people enrolled. Thing is, 3 people are enrolled, but when you tell them class is starting, suddenly 3 people don't show up, 5 people don't show up. So there's always space. So, but if you try to register at 24, it tells you it's full. So then you need to let me know, because you guys know me and have my email, and then I have to do all this behind the scenes rigmarole to get you guys registered. Okay, so email me, I'll send you the form, you'll sign it, get back, and all that kind of stuff. And it's happening starting next Friday. And it goes, I don't have the schedule right now, but it basically longer than the Photoshop class, starts at 9 and it goes till 12:45, I believe. And then at 1:30, we start this one. I'm not sure, or maybe just 12:30. I'll go check. Actually, I can check in my calendar. I just closed everything because I don't want to have 25 things open. Yeah, till 12:45. So then you have 45 minutes, and then Digital Side Techniques starts, but that's okay. You can back up and take a little break. So that's where you'll get to learn really in-depth Illustrator, which here I'm going to show you a little bit today. We're going to spend more time in Illustrator, but we don't get to really deepen our knowledge of it until you get a chance to, sorry, I'm signing into Google Drive. So you don't really get to deepen that until you take the full-on class. Okay, some of you guys are really good at it. Linda, many, and a couple of other of you guys who have taken it before. But if you've, you know, this is a chance to ask more in-depth skills. And for those of you who've never taken it, to go, wow, there's so much to this awesome program. So talking about business cards. By the way, I was reading the other day the survey you guys did at the beginning of what your interest was in this class. And a few of you guys mentioned business cards and, you know, business kind of elements. So hopefully what we've been doing has been helping you is begin to create some of those documents. But I just wanted to share with you guys because it's so fun. The other day, my son created his first business card. He's a freshman in college, right? He was like, Mom, I want to make a business card. Like, how cute. Anyway, he made an amazing business card. And I just wanted to share with you guys because it's so cool. He's a great illustrator. He is like, he just draws. He's amazing. Yeah, he's my son, but okay. But anyway, and he's a filmmaker and he makes films. And so he created this little Skype. I don't know how to share this with you safely, but let me see. I'll get it. Skypig Productions, which is this guy, but because his logo, hold on, his logo is this little flying pig. Let me let people in first. Okay, there we go. But he doesn't put his whole logo in here. Rather, I don't know if you can see that part of it. The back side of his page is that, of his business card is that. So if you put them together, which of course, I don't know who will put them together, but it's kind of cute because if you put the front and the back side of his business cards, there you go. You get to see, I don't know, you get to see it there, kind of there. But anyway, so it's kind of, so that's the back. But isn't that cool? So anyway, it's so funny because here I am telling you guys how to do this. And he's like, Mom, I have this logo, I have this thing. Ha, what do I do? So here I am giving him the little mini crash course that I've been doing for you guys. Did anyone else create anything new yet in between you started this class and your needs for your marketing or businesses or anything? I haven't seen anything new posted on the Padlet. So my Photoshop people are posting a lot, but just to remind you guys, we have that Padlet where you can share stuff that you've been making, and I'd appreciate seeing some of your work, what you're up to. All right. Yeah, super cute. Thank you. I agree. It's adorable. He has liked pigs all his life. He's a vegetarian because he like he was 8 years old, and one day he discovered that, pigs are bacon and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, oh, and he loved bacon, and look, he didn't like meat. And suddenly I have this like 8-year-old kid who turned vegetarian on me, and I'm like, Uh, and then he turned the whole family except for me. So I have an entire family of vegetarians. And so basically I am a vegetarian, but I'm Argentinian. Come on, I can't completely vegetarian. We need to eat meat now and then or we die. Sorry. But when I go to Argentina, I eat meat. When I go out, I'll order something with meat. But yeah, all because of these little piggies. And here he is, freshman in college, creating a little pig logo. So, but the moral of that story is follow your heart, right? Show and do things that you like for your or love or whatever for your identification. It's yourself. That's probably the best way to go. And someday he might want something less cute or professional, I don't know, but I think it's perfect. All right. Maysan is saying something. Oh, but she wrote just to me, so you guys don't know. Okay, I get that. Can you send
Thank
me an
you.
email about that though, my son? Because
Sure.
here in
Okay.
the chat it kind of disappears, and then I don't.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'll
That's
do
all.
that.
But
Mhm.
I'll remember. Oh, something I heard somewhere, and then, but versus if I see it as an email, I'll remember it. Okay, so I had to restart my VDI in between one class and the other because I was in the in-service. So I'm getting my bridge opened up, and my my request is that we all open up InDesign, okay? And that's the one that takes forever because that's where we did the last bit of work. And now we had incorporated the background of that building with the vase and stuff into our InDesign layout, remember? And we brought it in with bleed, we brought it in different ways. And so we're going to spend a little bit more time on that. We're also going to go and try to create a little logo in Illustrator that we're going to bring in. And then lay out the text in InDesign. Again, this seems like, oh my God, so much work for one business card. But the whole point is, no, when you really do a business card, you put it all together quickly. I'm kind of taking you through all the steps and background and regurgitation of what it takes to know. So it's not like designing a business card should take you, 5 weeks or anything like that in real life. But definitely it's what we need to get ourselves let me just move over here to just these class files, and it's what we need to know in order to then put together any product that we're up to. I also noticed, by the way, I'm assuming it was you, Linda, who said you were creating something for the jazz festival. Yeah, so if you have anything like that, like you want to share with us, I'd love to see that. Yeah, you're like, oh no, but by now you probably created it, right? Or yeah, so I have a good friend who is in that band, 2 friends who are in that band. Well, 2 of my kids' friends within our family friends who are in that band. So I'd love to know what you created for it. Are you in it, or how come you're doing it? What's the
My nephew was originally in the band, but he
Okay.
graduated. And then I'm
Okay.
also an alumni, so I'm helping out for that.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I have 2 friends who are in that jazz band. So 2 of my son's good friends were in the jazz band. So yeah, if you want to share here, I'm like prompting you to pull up, do a share screen and show what you created. I would love that. Nothing more exciting for classmates to see real things being created. All right, so I've said it enough. I'm hopeful at some point you'll volunteer to share. And now I'm gonna have us go. So here's our class files. Hopefully by now you've opened them up. You guys have downloaded them, but as I said, I created an April 1 catch up. So I believe Candace, you haven't answered yet, but Candace, I believe you were not here last class, were you? I'm not hearing you. So if you're speaking to me, you need to turn off your sound. sorry, turn on, unmute yourself. There you go.
Yes, my Zoom would not allow me on. So now that I
Okay.
have found it through my computer, I can log on.
Okay, great. So if you go to our class files, have you been to our class
Yes,
files?
I have, and I have been reading them all.
Okay, great. So that I created an April 1 catch up, and you can go and double click on that, and then you can download this InDesign file so that when we keep working on it now, you can open it up and keep going and don't want to have to start creating from zero. Okay. So that's what I wanted to show you. I think everyone else was here, right? Yeah. But if not, and if you weren't here, or you had to leave early, or you didn't do it, here it is. That's the InDesign. Sorry. All right. I also added a little folder called additional files. I'm going to be putting some in there so you don't have to download them now. This is for everyone now. But in here, I put a couple of Illustrator files that I just wanted to show you because of all the file formats that I have, I did not have an SVG example. And so I noticed that the other day when I was going through the files, and I said, oh, I never gave you an SVG file. So here sample. So here I have an Adobe Illustrator file that I want that I'll kind of do a lot of this work in the Illustrator class. So I'm not going to spend much time here doing it, but I did want people from this class to have an example of SVG. So I put that in the additional files, but the whole point of it is for the file format. So if you go into the file formats, where I have a folder, a whole bunch of file formats that I've had from the beginning there, I've added those two in here as well. But I just didn't want to have them just in here because if you guys want to download them to see them, I wanted you to be able to not have to download the whole folder again. So here are these two that I just showed you that are in the additional folder. And it's these two that wants these two, okay, which is an Illustrator file out of which I created an SVG. So I'm going to hang out here for a little bit now because, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because this file, this folder here has a whole host of different file formats, all of which in one way or another are useful for us as designers or as creators of pieces. Even if you don't consider yourself a designer, if you're going to create, you know, any final piece from as simple as a business card to an entire, you know, multi-chapter coffee table book, textbooks. Oh my God, do you have any idea how much work goes into textbooks with bars and sides and, you know, like magazines and columns and anyway, so from the most elaborate design project to just the most simple business card, you to websites, to apps for the phone, to whatever, you're going to need one of all of these types of formats. And the only one not represented here had been SVG. So what's an SVG? It's something that is a vector file. Okay, so it comes from Illustrator, or we created an Illustrator. And you can't have like a pixel-based Photoshop be an SVG. And you can't put an Illustrator file onto the internet. So when you want to put a file onto the internet that is sharp, like a vector file, you could have uploaded it in many different ways in the past, but then ever since SVG came around, it actually creates a file that gets described in code. So it's actually upload. We see it as a, I'm going to hit my space bar so you can see it. We look at this and we see an image. And remember, this gray and white blocks in the bottom are transparency, right? So if this gets put over, say, a photo of the ocean, you would basically see the ocean all between all these kind of things, right? It wouldn't make sense to have this over an ocean, but I'm trying to make a point that this is transparent. But now what happens is that if this had been, so this is a very complicated piece of art, right? Or let's say it's got a lot of, it's complicated, but it's got a lot of swirls and shapes and da-da-da-da-da. And it would be a pretty robust file to upload. And the most important thing in the internet, when you create a page, a web page, anything that's going on screen, the smallest the file, the better. So you want a really tiny file. And there's no graphic file that can get as small as a little list of code instructions. That's the smallest. So although we are seeing a visual representation of flowers and swirls and a butterfly and stuff, this, when you upload this SVG file to the internet, the web browser reads it as just code, lines of code that say, put this line that goes black over here and this one there and the red one there, you know, and in code mode, this gets described in just code and the website reads it in a second. So it's the smallest kind of file that you can upload for vector files. Okay, so anytime you can turn a file into an SVG, that's the best way to upload a vector image. If you look at this file over here, it's the original, it's 1.6 megabytes. And then when you look at this one, it's only 155K, which 1.6 megabytes is equivalent to 1,600 kilobytes. So from 1,600 to 155, it's way, 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 way smaller, right? That said, this one also has some other stuff in it, but still the proportion is pretty stark. This is a much smaller file. And beyond the file size, it's also easier for the web page to understand. So SVG is solely a screen-based format. The Illustrator could never be published online. When I say online, remember, I mean any kind of screen. So if you're going to create an app, if you're going to do anything that has to be transferred to any device through the internet, so it could be an iPad, it could be, you know, whatever screen you're going to be looking at through. So that's what I mean by online. Doesn't matter what device ends up seeing that web page. And we talked before about the PNG, and the PNG is also a web-based format, but it's not that you cannot put a PNG in something that's going to print. It's just that if you're going to print a PNG, it's going to be converted into CMYK. So we're going to talk more about that. And so the colors might not be as accurate as you expected versus if you put in a file that's already the right mode, then it won't be converted. So 99% of me would say never use a PNG for printing, but is it possible? If you put a PNG, does it print? Yes, it does. It's just that the colors might surprise you. It might not be what you wanted. So it's not that you can't print it, it's just not recommended to print with it. Okay. So we had a bit of a conversation about that before, and I had forgotten to tell you about that color. After the class was over, I said, oh man, I didn't mention the whole like color mode, or maybe I already made that correction in class and I told you that. I just thought I'd let you know that again. So those two are web formats, on-screen formats. The other big format here that to go to the internet is the JPEG now, but the JPEG is also good for printing. So JPEG is more of a multi-everything, right? It's the one file that fits every need. But as you can see, JPEG will forcefully have to have a background. So I think we have talked about that before. Just wanted to reinforce here, there's the same file selected in many different ways, saved in many different formats. So you have it as a JPEG, as a PNG, as a PSD, as a TIFF. So I'm not going to have us open all of them right now, but you have these files in your sources. So I recommend spending some time and opening each one and seeing the differences between one and the other. The main difference at this point between, say, a PSD, and by the way, here it says PSD as well, but this one is a flattened one, so it doesn't have it's got its background, versus this one is when it's separated from its background. But and the TIFF also has layers. So PSD has layers and TIFF has layers. But if you look at the file size of a PSD, is always going to be smaller than a TIFF. Okay, so like my PSD here, and let me put the spotlight on here. So the PSD over here, if you look at the metadata here on the right side, let me make this a little bit bigger. I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to show you the side, not get rid of it. So give me a second here. All right, so this is getting bigger here. So back to this. So the PSD is only 7.33 megabytes. And notice that pixel wise, it's 106, 1162, 1362. The TIFF is exactly the same. It doesn't have more pixels, but it's a much bigger file, right? So I would venture to say not double, but almost double. And depending on what it is, it could be double. So a TIFF file at this point is usually used only as a file that you bring an image in as a TIFF file. For example, if you scan a file. And the scanners tend to save as TIFFs, and then you bring it in and then you incorporate that into your layered files and stuff like that. But we rarely, if ever, would want to export or leave a file as a TIFF anymore. We're just using PSD. Now, the only other advantage is that a PSD is Photoshop document. And so you need Photoshop to read it, versus a TIFF could be read by a couple of other programs that are out there for like GIMP or something. Well, I think they can also open PSDs, but other similar, there's nothing identical to Photoshop out there in the world, but there are programs that are similar to it. And a TIFF is a more universal format. So, all right. So that's enough for this right now. I just want us to, by now, InDesign should have opened up. The file that we created last should be there. So I'm going to double click on it and open. While I was explaining all this stuff, I was also hoping that you were downloading, creating, opening. And now, when I try to open it from my InDesign program, instead of going to the file, the place where I made it and double clicking on it, which would open, I'm opening it from this recents from InDesign, like it's the most recent thing I've made, so it should be there. But when I try to open it, it's telling me something, and we're going to talk a lot about, remember how I told you that files can be either linked or embedded into a document, right? And so I don't know if you remember this conversation, but we had a layout for our postcard in InDesign, and then we brought in this background with this jar. And when we brought it in, we linked it to our document, okay? We didn't embed it. So this InDesign file isn't on its own anymore. This file now has a file that it's been linked to, and it needs to be connected, or it needs to know where it is. And my document is saying, whoa, there's a link here, but it's missing. I don't know where it is, okay? And that's fine as long as I haven't tossed it. It's just that by moving it from one folder to another, my computer now doesn't know where it is. And so that's all this is. As long as you haven't actually tossed it away, this can be fixed, as it says in the links panel. So I'll show you how to do that. So if yours says something like that, that'll be fine. I'm going to say, okay, and I'm going to open it up. Now, Tadia, you're saying your InDesign is not opening. Are you in VDI? Or do you have your own?
I have my own, but it's not opening for some reason. So I think I go to VM view.
Well, VM, if you're having issues with, sorry, that I had the alarms telling me to leave the in-service to come to this class, and that's what keeps ringing. I need to stop. If you are having problems with your application opening and it's your native application, going to VM view is going to even stress the system even more. What else do you have open? Is your computer have every single other program you have? Are they all closed up?
Yes,
InDesign takes a lot. It's the biggest one of all these files, so it takes a lot. So you need to have nothing else running.
Yeah, it's
Are
not
you
doing anything.
Are you on a Mac or on a PC?
Mac.
I'm going to stop my share. Can you share your screen and let me just take a peek at your settings and stuff before you do that? Have you been in VDI before? Like you would know how to use
No,
it
the first class, yes,
the first class?
yes.
Okay, so it might, if not, if that's the solution, then yeah, ideally not. Okay, so, well, Tadia is working on sharing her screen. Oh, I'm on the PC, that's true.
Okay. I was not
Um,
sharing the screen. I don't see it now.
What's that? You can't see it, so go
see
up to the top where you see Zoom. Oh, I'm using it again, like I did this morning. I was doing all my Photoshop, my Mac shortcuts, and I'm doing it again. Tadia,
Yes.
if you go down at the bottom on your dock, or I don't know where you have your dock, on the Zoom icon, do a right click and say show all windows, and usually the Zoom windows will pop in, and then you should find the share screen button.
I think I closed that page.
While Tadia is looking for that, Liz, do you have a question? Your hand is up.
Yeah, I just so mine like gives me an option to update the links or to not update it. It says I can either update the links now or use them later in the links.
Yeah, just for now, since I
Do it.
can't show it to you, go ahead and say later, and because I can't show it to you because I don't have that same window, and then I'll show you how to update them from the inside. So what's happening,
Okay.
so she had a different message than mine. It says update now or later. And the thing about that is that you can update now and have like in the moment, and it gives you all these options to do it, or say later, and then you do it inside. And I'm going to show you how to do it inside. Okay. And then if I have an example where I have the same update now or later, I'll show you that one, but it's okay to do it in one way or the other. All right. So those of you who are opening your files from who worked in VDI, hopefully you're opening your own InDesign file. If you are in VDI and you're opening mine from where I had you guys do the April 1 catch up, if any one of you guys is opening this one, then you really opening this one, and you ideally will do a save as into your own drive to be able to do your own updates, but I'm not sure who's doing that. Maybe Candace, or I'd like to know how everyone's doing. Does everyone have this file open? Give me a big old yes, a big green yes. If you don't have it open, if you're having troubles opening it, I need you to have it open so we can move forward. So then give me a no, and I can help you open it. Like Tadia, who's having trouble and she's talking to me. So I want to have an answer from everyone. So Ryan and Candace, tell me where you're at. So Tadia, no way to find your share yet?
Yeah, I think I. Oh, what's the?
Tell
Oh,
me
no,
what's happening, because just watching, I can't see anything. Are you getting
I don't see that blue thing.
what's
What
that?
is there, the screen?
Is
I
that,
don't see that.
did you click the big green one? The big green share screen yet?
Yes.
Okay, are you getting like a system preferences kind of message or what?
No, it just shows like desktop 1, whiteboard, iPhone.
Okay,
iPad.
so desktop, click on desktop, and then go at the bottom right of that and click again another button that says share. There we go. Perfect. Whenever you guys are stuck, you need to tell me what's happening, because then I know where you're at and I know how to help you. But if you stare at your screen, I don't know what you're looking at until you share. Awesome. Okay, so InDesign looks like it's open, but when you click on it, nothing seems to be happening. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. So
Yeah.
go to Bridge. Oh, you didn't open Bridge yet. Okay. Because if you open up the file, the Bridge extension Photoshop has been added to Bridge. You want to enable it? Say yes. By the way, you can close the stuff that's in the background. Go ahead and close that or minimize it or whatever. Yeah, you don't need it anymore. Okay. It helps having less things open, and mail takes up a lot of space. So go over to your mail and close your mail as well. See on the left side, I see that your mail file is open. Yeah, right click and quit. Yeah, okay. So the best way to do this would be to go to the to the, where have you been creating your stuff? Where is your InDesign file from last week? Is it in your documents folder, in your downloads? Like, where do you have it?
Um,
In your desktop? Where do you leave your files when you save them? Because all of this is the original stuff we've been working on, like the stuff that I gave you, but none of this is the files that you've been making.
no.
Because that's what we need to find. Would it be on your desktop? Well, no.
I think I need to look for it.
Well, but would you find it if you know, would you go to the Finder and find it? Do you know on the Finder how to find
Yeah.
where you put your stuff? Okay, go open a Finder window. Go to your dock and click on that little half smile face down at the bottom left. The first icon. Yeah, click on that. So here's your Finder. So how do you go find the stuff that you work on? Okay, so that's the PSD still. Where's your InDesign file? Did you create the InDesign file with us?
I think it, or in the right place.
This is all March 18th. Maybe you never saved it. I don't see it anywhere. I'm seeing March. What was last class? Yeah, March 6th. Yeah, you don't have it. You have some Illustrator files open.
I had it on the
You never saved
Fine.
it? Is it possible that you never saved it?
it
Well-
seemed to be in design when I was able to open it, but now I don't.
Well, say right click on that. Yeah, but in InDesign, it would be there. You would have created it if you saved it. Can you right click? Yeah, application not responding. So say force quit. Okay. Let's see if it quits. Okay, now click on it again to have it open up. See if it opens up this time. It's weird that if you don't have it in the recents of your Finder that you would have it in your InDesign, but who knows? Okay, so go click on it. And let's see if it opens up. Okay, so now just to know where it is, go up to your, go and say file, save as, not because we will, but say file, save as, and let's go find where you have it. You have it in your downloads. So, interesting, go say cancel. And then you can also go up to the top. Anyway, this is fine. So that's where it was. But now I need to know where you're bringing your stuff from. So what I'm going to show her is the same way that we're going to update our links. Okay, so it kind of works as both. Go up to view up at the very top where it says InDesign file, all those names go up to view. No, not view, I'm sorry, to window. Okay, so guys, whenever you need a panel that's not available, and right now there's no panel showing me what I need to see, I will always find all my panels under the word window. So right now, the only panels that have a check mark are the ones that I'm seeing, which are the properties and the tools panel. But I would like to see the links panel, which, so if you scroll down to the L, you'll see the links panel right there. Click on that and a new panel will open up. All right. So now these are our links. And if your link is correctly, like she didn't get the message that we got about the source, the link being missing. So there it is in the link, mexico.psd is showing up. Okay. If you go and hover over that name, go ahead and put your mouse over it. It'll tell you where it is. It's in the downloads, class files, spring 2022, mexico.psd. So your link is in your downloads folder. Does that make sense? And so I guess your InDesign was in there too, and we just didn't see it. All right. For those of you on the other hand, so now that you have it, I'm going to stop sharing. And I see Candace, you saying you don't have it, so I'm going to help you in a second, but let me first get everyone else straightened. Everyone else who needed to, like me, update my links. Let me show you what's happening. First of all, for anyone who got the message that you need to update your links, if you look up here on the top left, you see a little question mark there. I don't know, I didn't point it out, but in Tadia's, she had just a little link there. Her link was fine. But for those of us whose link is not fine, we have a little question mark. You see the one I'm pointing to? So if I go to my links window and pull it up, mine does not look happy. Mine says, whoops, where is this? Where's my thing? Where's my link? Okay. So how do I fix this? Well, if I hover over it, you'll see that the first thing is missing. Double click to relink. So if I double click right there, it goes, well, okay, I want to miss it, but where is it? You need to tell me where it is. See, it's trying to link it, but it goes, I can't find it. And it's showing me, this is where my file is. This is where my InDesign file is. And it's showing me, see, you don't have the link in here. Okay. And so I can trace it. And if it's a Mac or a PC, it might show this a little bit different and make this a little bit bigger. But over here, I can see that where I have the Postcard Mexico InDesign is in my Digital Design Dixies inside my drive. But the link that I linked to it is the one that was in another folder. And this is the problem. It's a different folder and a different hard drive, and it's not finding it. So I can do two things to fix this. First of all, I can go find it wherever it is, right? And wherever it is, where this link used to be, is in my class files, because that's where I had been working on it. But it's also important to tell you that this system that I have going here is bad, where you have one folder in one file, another folder in another file. But I'm leaving it this way because I want to show you how to have InDesign fix it. Right now, I'm just going to go find it. So in my Google Drive, my shared drives, in my Digital Design Techniques shared drive, download class files, there is where I would find the Mexico. No, I put it in the April catch up, and there it is. There's my Mexico PSD. Okay. So I had moved it. I had it somewhere else, but then I said, oh, I need to give this to the people who didn't show up. And so I moved it in here. So what happened to InDesign? It went, whoops, I can't find you anymore. So once I find it, I click on it and InDesign goes, oh, phew, thank you. Thank you for finding it. InDesign couldn't have known how to navigate all my files to find it, right? At that point. So it needed me. Does that make sense, you guys? So when you separate things, I did that. I did that myself. Unintentionally, but I had the file in one folder, and then I said, oh, I need to move this to this folder to give it to people who need to catch up. But then my computer went, whoops, where's the stuff, right? I'm now disjointed. Does that make sense? And that's how you fix the link. And now that is a happy little link, and this is fine. There's no little warning sign there. So hopefully by now you've all been able to find it. Meanwhile, let me chat with Candace. And actually also with Jenny, who just joined us. First with Jenny, because I don't remember. Jenny, were you here last class? Just to know if you've been able, did you complete the InDesign file that I was just showing? Do you have that? Your sound is off, Jenny. So if you're answering, I need to hear you.
Sorry, what was the question?
Do you have this InDesign file? Were you here last class?
Yes, I have that.
You have it. Okay, so just Candace then. So Candace, tell me where you're at, because I know you didn't come. Did you make it yourself following the videos? Did you create it? Do you have it somewhere? Because right now it's saying no. You're saying no, your sound is off. So if you're speaking to me, you need to unmute yourself.
Hello?
Yes, hi.
Oh, hi. Yes, no, I sent you a text. I bought the Creative Cloud and
Yeah.
I can access the tutorials, but I can't
Yeah.
access any of the programs.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I told you I'd help you in class, but like
Okay,
during break or
so-
something.
Yeah,
I
no,
can't
that's
make
fine.
you make it
I'll
work.
just,
But didn't you do anything in VDI yet? Have you not done any of the work yet? Watching the stuff,
I
but
did the
not
first
doing
week,
it?
but because I bought that, I've been trying to use it instead of going back to VDI.
Okay, but once you don't have it until you have it installed, you keep using VDI because it'll take a little while. Okay, so basically
Okay.
you need to download this file. You need to go to the files, to the handouts. And do you know how to do that? Do you want me to walk you through it so that you can follow today's class?
No,
And
I'm
do it in
following today's
VDI?
class.
Oh,
I'm following you.
but so are you in VDI then?
No, I'm not in VDI.
But your InDesign isn't working on your computer. So how are you?
Correct. I'm just following your screen.
You're just watching, but you're not
I'm
doing
watching.
is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. And if that's how you want to attend the class, then I'll just leave it there and let you watch. But remember that the doing is where you learn, where you get the
Yeah.
questions and where you have it. So by next week, please have yourself up to really do it, so that I can help you work with it and catch up to the files that I put in here by opening the ones that you have, but ideally create them yourself so that you run through the same problems that everyone's been running and you find them yourselves. So it's very important to understand that it's not the same to watch someone drive. If you don't know how to drive, then to drive, right? Like if you just watch someone driving, are you gonna learn how to drive? You're still gonna crash. So this is like that. You need to do it yourself to make it, to really learn it. Okay.
Diana,
Yes, Mason.
I don't see that link icon at the left side top corner there.
All right, it's possible if you hit the W that you're seeing things in like this presentation mode, in which case you don't see any of the links. Hit your W key again to see if you get into this mode where you see all of the different lines, because you should see it if you do have that embedded. And if not, I'm gonna ask you to
It
share
is
your
the
screen.
same.
Okay, so
I
then can you share your screen so I can see where
Sure.
you're at?
Sure.
Mhm.
Is this one? See, I have this tiny one, but I don't.
Show me, select that, like, go ahead and click on this background. Like,
the
no,
background.
no, with the, yeah. Oh, you have a really big thing in the back there. Go ahead and command minus, 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 or control minus, 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 so I can see all around. Okay, there's that big box. Go ahead and hit delete. What's that? Hit your delete
Delete.
key. Oh, okay, so undo. Okay, so you didn't bring it in the same way we did, so that's fine. So your bounding box is way bigger. You can go grab those boxes and go grab, yeah, and snap them into the right position. But actually, go ahead and undo that. I'm gonna,
Undo.
yeah, I'm gonna teach you a better way to do that, because otherwise it'll be hard to say undo again. Remember, the best way to undo is such an important shortcut that you should learn it. Are you on a PC or on a Mac?
PC.
So hold
Control
down
Z?
your Control Z, yeah, and then go back to.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
all right.
What's this
So-
yellow one? Is that a link?
No, I'll
No?
teach you that in a
Okay.
minute, but right now we don't need that. So if you go to the right side, that little bar where you see like a little chain link on, no, leave that for a minute.
Oh, this
Go
one?
to the right, yeah, see a little chain link, click on that. That's your chain, that's your links panel. Your link is good. So if you were wondering if it's good or not, your link is good.
Mhm.
But why you're not seeing that is because that bounding box is kind of outside of the realm of the page of the artboard. So if you head down to, on the right side, on the panel that says properties, on the right side, all the panels, go to all the panels on the right side. Maybe you have Zoom in the way, but
Oh, okay.
yeah. Okay, so at the very bottom of that, go all the way down. See where it says frame fitting? Oh. Yeah, frame fitting, a little bit higher up. Yeah, a little bit higher down. Yeah, there. Okay, so hover over those and see the words, and I'll be teaching you about all that. But Go ahead and move to the left. The one on the left. No, move to the right. I'm trying to see which one it is. No, move to the right to the next one. That fit content, no, the other one to the right. Fit frame to content, click on that one. That should have brought your frame into the content. So then what happens is that you probably brought this in a different way than how I brought it. It seems to me that this is not a frame, but a shape because of that box. Okay. So we'll just redo this
Just
really
quick.
quickly. Yeah, because that's, you can, no, but that's why it's gonna be a mess. So just go ahead and delete it and bring it in again, and so that we can do it correctly. Go ahead and hit delete the whole thing. This is it's a shape and not a frame, and so it isn't working like the regular way. Go to file. Yeah, and then say place, and we're just gonna place it again correctly, which is a good review for everyone to remember how this thing ended up here. Did frame place. Now go find your Mexico.psd, which should be somewhere down there. Go by the M's. There it is. One up. Oh, we had resized it to the right size. That's true. So maybe that's the right one. I think, let's see. I don't know what you called it. You know how we all called it different things. And say open. And let's hope that's the right one. Oh, see, wait. Move it out into the gray. Move it out into the gray. There's your problem. You guys see the file she's bringing in? It has a whole bunch of white around the image. This is the file she's bringing in. And that's why that box was so big, because of the file that's coming in. You see that?
Mhm.
Do you have Photoshop open already?
No, I can open it.
No. Yeah. So go ahead and
Escape.
click, go ahead and escape and go open. So when you bring in the image, it shouldn't, if it has all that white stuff around it. So I don't know if it'll take a little while. When it has all that stuff around it, that's the size of the file. That's what's in the file. And she had all that extra stuff, which is probably transparency in her Photoshop, right? And in her actual Photoshop file, that was probably transparent, even though we were seeing it as white here, which is why her bounding box was so big. Okay.
Open this one.
Well, you're only sharing your InDesign screen, so I'm not seeing your
okay,
Photoshop. So you
sorry.
need to go
Okay.
up to your share again and say new share or share again. And then this time share your desktop so that we can see both programs. Just share desktop and then it'll show us everything.
Okay, so
Now,
open
but
this
now
one.
you're sharing only this, so it won't. Okay, there you go. So yeah, oh, there you go. So see you guys, her file, even here, you can see that there's a lot of transparency around her image. Okay, you can see that, see all those gray boxes around her image. So I'm
Mhm.
wondering if we should just go and get it right sized again. But anyway, double click here and maybe we can just fix this one. Does anyone remember what we had sized it at in Photoshop?
4x6, right?
We had added bleed to it. I don't have it on top of my head. I think it
Oh.
was 4 by 6.5 or 5. Let me just go look. It's very easy. I'll just look. It's 6.25 by 4.5. Okay, so
6
So
points.
you need to, no, but that's not the problem. No, cancel. You can't resize until you get rid of all that extra canvas. Somehow you have a whole bunch of extra canvas. I don't know where from. So we need to get rid of all that. So you need to go ahead and go to your selection tool, just the move tool up at the top. Yeah, and select your layer. Okay. And now what we need to do is we need to, oh, but this is one that you turned into a,
I already
yeah, you
resized.
converted into a smart object and you were resizing it. That's the problem. You need to just resize it.
Redo?
Yeah, go up to image and let me see what size your whole document is at. Image size. Yeah. It's 10 by 603 to 300. Okay. So cancel that. Now select this, go ahead and do, just to see what size the actual layer is, go to your layer on the bottom right where you see your layers. Yeah, no, bottom right. Yeah, and just to the layer, yeah. And, oh, there you have the original. Okay, so turn the eyeball off of that one because that's why it was importing that one instead of this one. There you go. There you go. And now let's do a file, save as. Okay, and call this one file, actually, just call it for post, Mexico for postcard or something like that. I don't know. Or 4x6 or something like that. Yeah. Okay, and say save. Cool. And now what we're going to do is we're going to resize this correctly. So go back to image size. No, to crop. Go to the crop. I think we had done it with a crop with you guys, hadn't we?
This one?
No, no, never there. I'm trying to remember if we had done it with a crop. I'm trying to follow the same project we
Oh,
did with
here,
because there's so many different ways. I believe we had done it with a crop with you guys. Yeah, click on that. I'm not sure if I done it with a crop with you guys. So go up in the top next to the word ratio.
Ratio.
Does it sound familiar? Did I do it like this with you guys or
Oh,
not?
here? Yeah. No.
No, next to that in the empty box right next to it. So I'm
Uh-huh.
waiting for someone to tell me, is this how we did it with you guys or is this not? Because if not, I'll have her do it the other way.
Mm.
Anyone remember if we used the crop tool and the ratio?
I think we talk about crop, but probably I forgot how to do it.
All right, so go ahead and write the numbers that I'm going to tell you in there. Go ahead and write 6.25. And then go to the next box to the right and say 4.5. Okay, so yeah, we did it here because remember we had to move. Now you're remembering, right? Me too. We had to see how when we try to give it the right format, you ended up like the belly of the mug of the whatever this is, the pot wasn't working. So now you have to drag, put your mouse on down onto the image. No, not the corners, but not the corners, because that's right. But you need to grab it from right from the middle, yeah, and then kind of move it to the right so that we incorporate all that extra. No, now to the left actually. Then there we go. To the until there, perfect. That's what we're gonna crop. Okay, now say yes to that and give it a little. Either hit your return or go to that check mark on the top right. Top right bar, there's a check mark or hit return. Okay, so now it's the right proportion. Go down to your layers again. You have that color panel is so big that it's occupying, it's taking over all your, so yeah, put that in, yeah. Thank you. Phew, now we can see it. Okay, so select your original layer. That's the one you want to bring in, not the other one. Good. Now save it. Okay, so you guys see what I've done? She was bringing in the layer that was selected. The layer that was selected was that second one, the original copy, whereas you can see she was playing around with resizing her little Mexico thing, and that's why it was coming in so small. All right, now go back to InDesign. Now leave this open since you opened it, go back to InDesign, and this time we're gonna bring in the Mexico 4x6. So go to File, Place. So doing this with her has reviewed the process that we all did. So in a way, it's good because now everyone remembers where we were at after 2 weeks. That's a long deal. And now, okay, so there it is, Mexico 4x6. Double click on that or click on open. Cool. Now it's the right size. See, now put your mouse. Now, wait, you're not showing the, yeah, you're showing, are you showing the bleed? No, you're showing the margin and the cut. You need to hit the W key because you're not showing your bleed. Nope, you were. Hit it again. Do you have bleed set up? I don't think you have bleed set up.
Sure. Maybe you have to remind me again. I forgot all that.
Yeah, you need to have an extra. Go ahead and say escape. Let me check your bleed. So go all the way to the right where it says properties, selection, documents, within height, margins. Click on That's margins, but I don't see bleed. Say, go ahead, click on adjust layout to see if it lets you add bleed to that. Yeah, you don't have bleed. So she should have had another line outside of her margins, you guys. You had to have the inside margin, the white line that she has, that's her cut, the trim line, and then the bleed was missing. And so there where it says bleed in the top, put 0.125. And since they are linked, that'll, yeah, 0.125. And then when you hit pad, it goes to all of them because they're linked. So it'll go everywhere. Go ahead and say, okay.
I don't see that.
Okay at the bottom.
Oh, got hide it in there. Okay.
There it is. So now that's
Oh.
where it needs to drop in that red line. You
Mhm.
might want to zoom in, Control plus or Control plus a few times just so that you're seeing that window. Yeah. And now hit the space bar and bring it down a bit. Okay, now go to file place. And now go find the good old Mexico 4x6. Import. Cool. And now go drop at the very edge of that. Okay, so for better or for worse, this was great, Mary Mason. Thank you, because we've, yeah, click. Everyone now got a chance to review.
Okay, I see that.
Oh, you got the,
I need to resize
in the end, we
it.
didn't, you know what? We didn't resize it. We only cropped it to the proportion, but that's okay because it'll still work. So actually, leave it there where
Okay.
you're at. Now that brings us to a place where I can join everyone. So although it's not fitting in there yet, this is kind of where we stopped last week. So I'm going to stop your share. And now from where you're at, I'm going to have everyone work on what comes next, and you'll fix that just happened to you. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. So here's the deal. I believe that in the ones that we did, we had actually resized it first to the right side. I'm not sure. We had resized it to 4x6 and then, or something like that. And then we went and cropped, I don't remember. But the whole point is that hers is still at the right ratio, but it's not the right size. But most of us have it the right size. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to delete this. Make sure that you all remember what file this is by going and looking at the name. Mine is
Can
just
you show the
Mexico.
screen. Show
Oh,
the
thank you, thank you. Thanks for reminding me. Okay, so here's my share screen. All right, so I'm gonna make you guys, the last thing we did was inserting it and it dropped in and then class was over, right? And we have all this other stuff to talk about. So part of what we need to talk about is what if the file is or isn't exactly the right size? Like in the ideal world, we made it the right size, which we did for this example, right? But for example, Mason had not. She made it the right proportion, which is not the same as the right size. So let me just show you different ways to bring in an image. I'm going to clean all your feedback. That way, if I ask another question, I know what the feedback is. All right. So before you delete it, select it and go to that links that now hopefully everyone has open. And so the links are available. Otherwise, notice that without opening it up, here there was no information about the links, and I told you guys to go to window and links. But had this not happened, if you had selected it, then the link information, I think over here, reveal or something like that, it would have shown up. But I just like having, it's telling me it's a link file. I just like having that little window telling me all the details of this links. Someone's alarm is ringing right next to me and it's driving me crazy. So my husband's phone is ringing away. He'll come and get it soon, and if not, I'll have to go and grab it because I'm about to, you know, when an alarm rings and rings and rings in your ears. All right, so here we are. Make sure you know the name of your file, and just in case yours was all ready to go and nothing was wrong and you didn't have to find it, hover over it and look and read, and it'll tell you where that is. Okay, so you don't lose it. So everyone look, and yours is in your downloads folder, or yours is in your, you know, wherever it might be. So mine, as you can read, is in the April 1 catch-up folder, which is the one that I had created for the new students. So everyone, you see what I mean about seeing the path. You read it from the bottom to the top, and it'll tell you my Mexico CD is inside of my April 1 catch-up folder, which is inside of the shared drive, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so I just want to make sure y'all know where it is because I'm going to make you delete it and bring it again in a couple different ways. So now we're going to select it and hit our delete keys. That alarm is still ringing, so give me a sec while I go deal with it because I'm about to throw an apple out. I have an apple here about to try to bean it. Give me a sec. Okay, there it is, except for I disconnected my headsets. Joaquin? Can you go tell Dad that his phone was ringing right next to me and that it's his timer and to come and get it, please? All right, thanks. All right. I just heard my son coughing. It was ideal. I was like, oh yeah, go catch him. We're all coughing. Yeah, my kids were sick all spring break. But they got it bad. I just got this like leftover kind of crunginess, but I'm not really sick, but they got it bad. So I just heard his cough.
Diana,
Before I continue, I see a hand. Ryan? Yes.
Yeah, somehow on my thing, I don't have that little the chain link thing that you just clicked on
Mhm.
to the right to the left of
Okay,
properties.
so I brought it up by
What?
going to window and links,
Oh, okay. I had it and
And
it
then-
disappeared.
and then that got created.
Okay, I got it now. Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome.
Diana,
See, yes,
this is Mary. How do you delete the?
I just hit my delete key on my keyboard.
Okay.
Here it is. Okay, here's my husband.
Okay.
It was,
Got it.
Jack,
Sorry.
it was ringing and ringing and ringing, so
Sorry.
keep it with you because it was driving me a bit batty. Thanks. All right, just retrieved. My husband's firing his kiln right now. He's a potter and he's firing his kiln, and every half hour it rings to tell him he needs to change the fire level, whatever. But it kept ringing every hour. And it's just like, just take it with you. All right, so did that work, Mary, for deleting it?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right. So, Lauren, your hand. All right. So here we are. Last time we had right-sized it. So when we brought it in, boom, it just dropped in the perfect place because we had done all the work ahead of time. But sometimes you don't do the work ahead of time. Sometimes you just put something in there and go, yikes, what size was it in Photoshop? I have no idea. So there's different ways of dropping it in. So let's go back to filed place. Now, I already know that this one is the right size because I just, did that to the file. But I'm going to select it anyway, and you can either double click or you can select and say open. Either way, some people like to select and then open, or you just double click. It's the same. And here it is. It's hanging out, ready for me to drop again. So watch. Don't drop it yet. If you did or didn't right size it, sorry, if you did right size it, if you go to the exact spot it should be, it should drop and fill perfectly fine. But what if you didn't? If it was too small originally, what we're going to do right now is a bad idea. Because then you would be stretching it out of resolution. But if it's too big, this is a good idea. So watch. I'm going to decide that this image is supposed to be only a small image in the middle of this business card, or in this case, it's a postcard. So what I'm going to do is instead of just clicking, I'm going to click and drag and drop. So now it has come in to the size that I want it to come in. Last time we just simply clicked and it dropped. And for us, it dropped fine because we had resized it, but you already saw with my son, hers wasn't resized. So hers got too big with a single click. Got it? But by clicking and dragging, you decide what size it drops at. Not the proportions, that's even, but it's, so now let's hit the delete again, get rid of it again. Go save 5 place again. Double click on it again. And this time, try to make it even bigger So drop it from all the way here to all the way there and see if that's possible. And yeah, it's too big now, right? I'm doing command minus. So that you can, oh, I'm on a PC. That's true. It's control minus. So see how I managed to make it really big? There's a slight problem with doing this because if I had right-sized it and I did this to it, here, let me just show you this problem. That means that to make it as big as this, what I've done is I've created a fake situation here where the image was right-sized to 4:6, but I made it bigger. I made it, I don't know what I just made it, maybe 7:8. I don't know what well, actually I can check over here. I made it 7:5. So over here I can see the size I made it. And thus, InDesign is happy to give me this file as a 7:5, but the Photoshop file wasn't left bigger than that. So what's happening now, it probably is going under the resolution that I need for it to print correctly. Do you guys remember about resolutions and printing correctly and the homework that you had for today, that you had to read the handouts for resolution? So how do we check in InDesign on the resolution and if this is going to work or not for the file? So let's go back to that link panel. And down here, I see link info. If I expand it, I can read the same stuff I was reading in Bridge. Does that make sense? This is all that basic metadata that comes with the file. And it's telling me now that right now I have an effective PPI of 370. So what's the golden rule for printing? What PPI do I need?
300?
300 is the number that I want. And so if I have less than 300, is it going to print well?
Nope.
40 would print well, they said.
Depends on quite a few other circumstances, but for let's just say that the golden rule is no, it won't. How about if I have more than 300? Will it print well?
Yes.
Yeah. So 370 is more. So is this going to be a problem?
No.
No. But I have enlarged it beyond its original size. And see down here, it says scaled at 120. But even if scaling at 120, I still have effective 370 PPI, then that's fine. If that's what I want to do, no problem. Okay. The problem would have been if I had expanded something beyond its size and I saw that it said that I'd expanded it to 120 and now I was down to like 200 PPI. Then I was like, oh, can't do that. Does that make sense? You need to be aware. So in this case, we made it bigger than we needed it. Did everyone made it bigger than we needed it? Yeah, we made it bigger than we needed it. And in this case, because this file had a lot more information than necessary, it still is working. But when I hit the W, this is how this image is going to print, which is not ideal, is it? Because all of that extra stuff is going to go the way of the dodo. Gone, dead, not happening. Nothing outside of this is going to work. Yeah. So I'm hitting W to see it and W to see it. So how do I resize this box? So first of all, let me just delete it again. I've just shown you that you can place a file by making it really tiny, click and drag, and you control what size it comes in at. By the way, look at the making it so tiny. Look at the effective PPI of this thing, 6,343, right? Because I put it in only at 7% of what it can be. So yes, can this be printed or not? Yeah, as long as it's bigger than 300, no problem. Okay. Or plan B, you can drop it in. Dropping it in would only work if you resized it. And I guess that this wasn't my perfectly sized one, or it was. There it is. We had perfectly sized it. So then it was a single click and it dropped in just nicely, or you can make it be too big. Where's my file place? Mexico again last time. So this is just review, and I can make it be humongous. Okay, and there it is, it's humongous. And it just stretches out to whatever is needed. And I made it bigger this time than before. So now I have an effective PI of 315. So I'm getting closer to the max that I can print this file at. So anyway, you won't normally see this stuff. So you need to know where to look for it, okay? You won't normally even see the links panel. If you don't pay attention to that stuff and someone just sends you a photograph and you just bring it in and put it in, you have no idea until you see it come out of the printer looking horrible that, this was a mistake. So you have to keep an eye on the stuff. And I see constantly in places like the Independent and ad brochures, you suddenly open up and you see a photo that's all pixeled and doesn't look good. Someone just printed a photo that wasn't set up to print. It was set up for the internet, maybe. They didn't know the difference. So anyway, here we'll go, well, but I can just change the size. So this is where I left you guys. I left you with something that was too big, remember? Then I repeated it to show you again, kind of as a review. But how do we fix this? Well, here's what I'm about to teach you right now is the only thing. I know you won't believe me, but it's the hardest part about InDesign is what about to teach you right now. So put on your thinking caps, and if this is complicated, it's supposed to be a little bit, okay? So not to say that you won't understand it. It's hard to preface something where it's going to be hard without everyone starting to start cringing, but if you don't get this immediately, relax. It's not that this is complicated. It's just that this is complicated. Of all the teaching I ever do, this is the one that makes people kind of cringe their eyes and go, what? So there's 2 arrows up here on the left side. Let me put there's one other one in Illustrator that makes people get really confused. There's 2 things that everyone's always like, what are you talking about? This is one of them. So drink some coffee or whatever it needs to that you can focus. Here's black arrow tool called selection tool. Here's a white arrow tool that if you hover over it, it's called direct selection tool. Now, for those of you who have used Illustrator already, you might be familiar with these 2. And if not, you will become very familiar with this because in Illustrator, we use these 2 a lot. If you're only a Photoshop person, you've only been accustomed to one black arrow, which now has actually changed. In Photoshop, it doesn't look like that anymore. Now it looks like this little 4-way arrow. But anyway, and if you click and hold, it turns into both black and white. So this is in all 3 programs in a bit different form. One works on the holder of the photo and one works on the photo itself. So the holder of the photo in this case is the black arrow tool, and it's this bounding box. It's what holds, it's the frame. Okay, so I'm going to select this image and you see these little boxes here all over the place. This is the holder. It's the frame that holds my photo. Versus if I click on the white arrow tool and select, it's so subtle. It's so subtle. But the color of this line is now red versus when I select it with this one, that color of that line was blue. It is very stupid and subtle, but it'll get easier to understand because what matters isn't what the holder looks like or doesn't look like. I wish it were easier. What matters is what it does. So watch. I'm going to go over to the black arrow tool, the selection tool. And now I'm going to go ahead and say that I want this photo to be smaller. My intention is to make it fit really nicely, right? That's my intention. I'm going to grab this corner and make it fit that place. There we go. And I'm going to grab this one and make it fit that place. What happened? Is the photo looking like I want it to look?
No.
What I just did is I changed my frame size, but my photograph is still the size that it was. So all I did is I'm seeing less of the photo. So truly, imagine that you received an 8x10 photo print in your hands, right? But if you put that in an 8x10 frame, you see the whole image. Instead, I just grabbed a little 4x6 frame, and when I try to put that photo in it, I only see a portion of it. Does that make sense? My frame through which I see this image got smaller, but I did not change the size of my photo. It's still that big 8x10. That's what just happened. I just grabbed the frame and made the frame smaller. Is that something that's comprehensible at this point? Everyone's yay okay with that? I am okay if someone goes, no, please explain that again. I didn't get it. Nah, some more explanation. So yeah, good, Taria. Give me a yay, a green yay, if that's pretty easy to. No, don't. Someone is making some noise in the background. I don't know who it might be. There's like a bzzz. Did someone unmute themselves? I'm gonna mute people who are unmuted so that it stops. Mason, could it be you? I'm gonna mute everyone because I don't know, there's like this weird. Okay, I just muted everyone because there was some background noise that I couldn't understand. So if you need to talk to me, know that I've muted everyone. All right. So here we go. We just tried to put an 8x10 photo and in a 4x5 frame. So basically, we're seeing only a portion of it. Yeah, that's what just happened. Did you do that? Did you resize your frame? Now you can grab it and try to make that frame even smaller, and it gets even worse. You basically see only a little bit of it. You're just resizing the frame. The photo remains just as big. How do I know that? Watch. I'm going to click away, meaning in some neutral area, and let me go switch to that white arrow tool that I just mentioned is different. Now the white arrow tool, instead of selecting the frame, it selects the content of the frame, the actual photo. I don't want to say it's always a photo. Sometimes the content is a logo, it's an Illustrator file, whatever it may be that you put in there. But in this case, it's a photo. So it's the content of the frame. So now with the white arrow tool selected, I'm going to go and select that again. And look what happened. See that big box? Remember I told you it was a bit reddish brown? That is showing me the photo, except for I can't see it all because my frame is so small. But can you see how that is still the size of the photo? So if I were to want to modify the size of my content, I need to be in this white selection tool. Then I can grab this stuff and bring it in and make it, in fact, why not even smaller than that frame? And boom, there's my photo. Oh, let me just say that something pretty nasty is happening to it though. Can you see how I'm distorting it? That's my alarm telling you that. See how no matter what I do, it's distorting it because I'm not keeping it in proportion.
What if you hit
But
shift while
yeah, but I just wanted, we're going to undo all of this anyway. But do you see how I am changing? And so if suddenly I go out, that's my frame, right? Remember the blue one's my frame. If I decide to do that and this, suddenly I'm messing this up. So I am independently controlling my frame and my content. The white one controls my content. Now I'm going to switch to the black selection tool. I always try to clean my selection by clicking away and now selecting again. And now what am I controlling again is the frame again. So I see as much of it as I want by controlling the frame. I just want to make sure that you understand this process. This is obviously messed up, right? Nothing of this is correct, but I want you to see how it's two distinct parts and pieces. So now I'm going to hear your guys' feedback again, and then tell me if you have successfully controlled either the size of the photo, the content, and or the size of the frame, and you got that these are two distinct parts and pieces. If so, give me a good old yes. If not, give me a no, and tell me what isn't working for you, because this does get kind of like, for some people it works, and for some people it might not. Okay, so Tadia, yeah, tell me.
I don't see any of my tools. I have been trying to find them, but they just disappeared.
Are you able to share your screen now? Remember we couldn't before? I can stop my share and I can help you, but I don't, unless I see your screen, I don't know why you can't. By the way, were you able to open? Yeah, you opened your own InDesign and you did share. Yeah, so you did it. So let's do that
Yeah.
again.
Except now I don't see my Zoom anywhere.
It's 2 shares. So the first screen, share screen, then you choose your desktop and then you hit the share again at the bottom right. But if you don't see the first one, then you need to go down to the Zoom icon, right click and say show all windows, and then you'll find them. Is that helping?
I don't really see anything.
All right, so do you might need to hit escape in case you're in some mode that's not letting you do that. And then if you go down to your dock, do you see the Zoom icon? Your dock at the bottom of the screen that has all your applications?
No.
You were a Mac person, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, there is.
So in your dock, you should see the little blue camera, which is the icon for Zoom. Do you see it?
Yes.
Oh, there you go. You started it. Okay, perfect. All right. So tell me what's happening.
Yeah, I don't have any tools here or here.
Oh, I got it. Let me, all right. It's just that, yeah, you disconnected your image from your program. This might be easier if I fix it for you and tell people what's happening, but I'm going to request remote control. You probably got a message saying someone's trying to.
Yes.
Okay, good. So now don't move your mouse. And I'm gonna, so now this is me controlling your screen. Okay, so this is the, oh, you're controlling, I'm not able to move it. Are you perchance needing to give permissions? Does it say anywhere that you need to
Yes, I
give?
said approve.
What?
I approve it.
Yeah, you have to approve. And then it'll take you into your system preferences. You need to go into the system. Tell me what's happening, because if you don't speak, I can't tell you what steps you need to click on. There's a few things you need to do to let me give
Okay,
control.
so where is the system
System preferences, it'll open up on its own. If you say okay to that, it'll open up the system preferences to the privacy settings.
Well, I click that approve, but I don't know.
Okay, so it's gonna, so go down to the system preferences. Maybe we just go down to the system preferences and in the dock. It's right next to the InDesign icon. Yeah, click on that. There we go. Now go where it says accessibility access, the thing on the left, and say open system preferences, because it'll open it to the right place. So there's a little window to the left. Forget that. To the left, there's a little window that says Zoom US. Oof, you hit it again. You had it, but you hit it. How do I make you see it again? There is a window there that you would have to pay attention to. Let me ask you for control again, and it'll come up again. I'm going to request remote control again. Okay, do you see that? Say,
Yes,
okay,
yeah.
click on it, say approve, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now click on, yeah, so now stop, yeah, that one, open system preferences, that one. Now, perfect. Now, this is where you had to be. Now, go to the bottom left of that says click lock to make changes. But the system preferences has a little lock down there. Click on that. Yeah. And now put in the computer password that you use to turn on your computer when you turn it on to wake it up. Cool. And then say unlock. Cool. And now down in this middle, you need to scroll down until you see the word Zoom. So scroll a bit. Yeah. And now click on that checkbox next to Zoom. Perfect. Now you can close this window. Cool. And now leave your mouse quiet and now I can work. Now it's me moving your screen. Okay. All right. So here's what's happening. This window is her file, but it got disconnected right now. You and I, the rest of us have this as little tabs and I'll show it to you later, but we need to like dock it again. There we go. I just docked it into the right place. And then I need to move your whole program over because you lost your stuff and reset your essentials. Okay, so now all your tools came in, and then I highly recommend always to have your programs expanded so it fills the screen, and then that's not a problem. There you go. So basically, just so everyone understands what I just did, right now you're accustomed that when you open files, they open up like in tabs, but she had pulled it out. If you pull it out like that, then it becomes just like this little loose image. And in her case, she had moved it sideways, so she had locked that. So I'm just kind of docking it into place again. So it's back to being a tab, and now you have all your tools around it. Okay, so Tadia, go ahead and do, if that was your problem, that's fine. Go ahead and go with your black and white, which are the selection tool versus the direct selection tool, are the official names of the black and the white arrow. So
Yes.
go with your black selection tool and select your image. Yeah, and now grab the corners of that and change the size of it. Be really drastic, make it really small so it's really obvious. Okay, and then go from the bottom right and make it smaller. Yeah, okay, good. Now go to your white or direct selection tool. Cool, and now select that same image. Select the image. Yeah, click on it. You click on the image in the middle of the image, not the edges, just the image. Yeah, there you go. Twice you've gone to the little edge, and edges are only to move the frame. Other than that, when you select something, just select it from the middle and that's good. Okay, and there's your white, there's your red bounding box that changes the shape of your photo. So go grab those little handles now and then distort your image or make it smaller or whatever you need, and you'll see how it's making your image smaller. And in order to really see it, sometimes it's going inside of it. Okay, so that's your image versus your frame. All right, so that's my alarm telling me to give you guys a break. Let me, before I move forward, let me show you one more thing and then I'll give you guys a break. But I'm only seeing a couple of yeses. So everyone else, like Mary, sorry, and Mason, Lisa, you're all yes. Ali. So you got to use both your internal and external, so to say, tools, black and white arrows. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab this whole thing. And and this is important. You know how last time I said to delete it, just hit your delete key. Now here's the conundrum. If you're in the white selection tool and you now select this and hit the delete key, you will delete your content, but not your frame.
We're not seeing your screen.
Oh, thank you. All right. So what I was going to say is here's the conundrum. Last time when something was in the way, I just said, just hit your delete key, it'll disappear. But that's because I knew you guys were all in the black arrow. If you delete the frame, it'll delete the frame. Thus, whatever's in it deletes as well. But if you're in your white arrow tool and you hit delete, you are only going to delete the content and not the frame, which can get kind of confusing, right? Because the content can't exist without the frame, but the frame can exist without the content. Meaning, you can right now get rid of this photo by hitting delete, but the frame now is empty, but it's still there. If instead I'm in my black arrow key and I select my selection tool and I select this, then by deleting the frame, I also delete the content. So I want you guys to get rid of all this mess that we made. All right, and then let's bring it in one more time. File, place. And let's once again make it be the wrong size. So let's make it bigger. just to have another learning thing to do. Okay, so I clicked and dragged to do that, right? Because if you just click, it falls in the right size. Tadia, your hand is up? Or is that the one same as before?
It was before.
Okay, good. I'll lower your hand. I just looked up and saw it and I had forgotten to lower your hand. Okay, good. So does everyone have it in here again, really big?
Yes.
All right. So one thing that I have not shown you, and you might have been wondering if you did hit it by mistake or because it's there out of curiosity. When you're in this black arrow tool, every time you hover over once you have the image selected or not, when you select it, there's this round thing that's popping up all the time. Like, what's that little donut thingy in the middle, right? That's called the grabber. I personally hate it. Some people love it. I hate it. But what this is for people who don't want to change from one to the other, is that grabber is giving you the direct selection tool. So right now, even though I'm in my black selection tool and I can move the whole frame and everything, if I touch right in here, I'm only grabbing the inside. And as you can see, I'm moving the content, but leaving the frame behind. Does that make sense? That's the grabber. So some people love it. I hate it. It depends on your point of view. But I find that people who don't know what that is and get confused by it, then suddenly your photo is all over the place and you don't know why. And it's because when I told you to select, you clicked in there and moved, and suddenly your content is moving and not your frame. So just be aware of it. If you don't want to be changing from this, the shortcut for the selection tool is V. The shortcut for the direct selection tool is A. So for me, it's much easier to keep tapping A and then move the content, and then V and move the frame, because that's what I'm accustomed to. But if that's confusing and you don't want to keep going back and forth, then you can grab that little grabber to move the content. That's just your choice if you're comfy with it. But mainly, if you don't know what it is, then it can really confuse you and mess you up. So that's what that is. Notice that my mouse here, when I'm hover over the content, then everything moves. Okay, let's just get rid of this again by going to the black arrow key and selecting it and getting rid of it, because now when we put it in again, I want it to be inside of its correct frame size, so to say. And then we'll take a break and then we'll continue with what comes next. So let's go ahead and say Mexico PSD one last time. And let's go ahead and drop it right in the bleed where it should go, and boom, it should at this point fill our screen correctly. If it doesn't, then you can instead hit return and then bring it in again. And that means that you just didn't resize it in the background. Then put your mouse on the real corners of the red line and drag it to the red corners over here, and then let go. And it'll work just fine now because you clicked it and dragged, but within the right size. So once you got here and life is good, give me a yes, and then we'll move on. Which, interestingly enough, we're opening this file and it's in exactly the same spot it was when we started, and we've had a whole class, but I've just been teaching you a lot in between, right? So, okay. If this is where you are, give me a yes. If you have no idea how to get back to this, give me a no and I'll help you. Meanwhile, let me check on the time and let's give it a break. So let's just do a break until 3:20. 21 actually, because it's been on 3:10 for quite a while. So 3:21 p.m. All right. Looks like everyone's a go. Most of you guys have answered. Lisa and Jenny haven't answered, but okay, cool. So I'm going to mute everyone so you can make all the noise you want, and then I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. All right. Come on back. Those 10 minutes go by fast. It used to be 15 minutes before, and in person it's 15 minutes, but I don't know, I switched to 10 and now suddenly 10 seems really quick when you're trying to eat something, which if you can hear my mouse moving, I was trying to eat something. But opening the fridge, putting it in the microwave, cooking it, and coming here, that's it. That's the 10 minutes. All right. So let me clear your guys' feedback. Okay. So, all right. How are we doing there? Everyone back to zero? We're all at the place we started. All right. So, I have a couple things that need to be explained. Actually, hold on. I forget that I'm in PC mode. I hate forgetting that that every time I'm in PC mode for the shortcuts. Okay, so share. Hopefully you're all back. All right. So here we go. There's a couple of solutions to what we just did. When you change the size of the frame and the photo is supposed to be a different size. So remember how when I grabbed the frame tool and I decided to make it smaller, I kind of left my photo behind. So what if instead I wanted the photo to shrink with me? When I shrink the frame, I also want the photo to shrink. Wouldn't that make more sense? Well, first of all, if we want anything to shrink proportionally, we need to hold down the shift key. So practice this. Hold down the shift key. And then when you shrink one side, try to shrink the frame and it'll only shrink proportionally. Now, that still didn't give us the whole photo, but at least it shows you that it becomes a proportional kind of shrinking, right? Now, if you keep that held down, but you also hold down a couple of other keys, this is the PC. My shortcut. Come on. My mouse is doing weird. My computer sometimes doesn't like the fact that I'm on a Mac and that I'm doing this on a PC. But anyway. Come on, stop it. I'm fighting my computer. Give me a second, guys. My computer is not necessarily enjoying being fought with. Okay. Okay, got it. All right, so watch my screen. PC users, it's Control and Alt. Mac users, it's Command and Option. So first, forget the shift. Let's just do this. I'm going to hold down the Command and Option at the same time if you're a Mac user. Control and Option at the same time if you're a PC user. Then grab one of the corners and notice that if I now reduce the size, oh, I went backwards. I got it upside down. But if I now reduce the size, it's reducing with in and out, like both the frame and the shape are getting reduced. Does that make sense? Did that work for you all? I decided to go down here because for some reason when I kept going down there, it was resisting me. All right, so now controller Command Z to go back to the beginning. And let's add. So your other hand is either Command, Option, Shift for the Mac or Control, Alt, Shift. So it's 3 keys. Control, Alt, Shift. Or Shift, Alt, Control, it doesn't matter because they're all at the same time, all 3 ding like piano keys. If you're a PC, it's Control, Alt, Shift. If you're a Mac, Command, Option, Shift. Okay, so you all got your little 3 keys held down. Now, if you grab that little corner, then you can, yeah, I'm having an issue with my command because it's giving me, my control is giving me long story. It's trying to give me I'm gonna do first shift command. It's trying to give me a right click and that's why it's a problem. Come on. I've never tried to do this on VDI and it's not happy. Okay, is it working for you guys other than for me?
It shrunk proportionally.
Yes.
That's what you were trying to do.
Yeah, so yes, I'm trying to get it to print proportionally. There it is, finally. Ah! It's just that every time I go with the control, it ends up trying to do a right click, which is right because it's the Mac control is the right click for the PC, but I'm on a vid. So the same shortcut on this is trying to override and be a Mac control. Anyway, yes.
Dana, I don't know why it got reversed.
I did a control or command Z to undo it. Okay. So I'm just undoing it to do it again and again. All right. So hold down the corner, hold down your shift, and then hold down your alt or option and your control all at the same time. And then you get it all. Oh, I didn't do it all at the same time. On top of that, I have a Band-Aid on this finger. So my finger is slipping, but it's a Mac fighting. It's a Mac fighting the PC thing that's happening to me right now. There we go. Fighting me being on a PC using the control key. Anyway, so then you can hold the corner and get it to be proportionally in and out and whatever you want. And as you notice, as if it goes sideways, I'm also getting up and down. And it's all moving at the same time. Okay. So now let it make, I'm going to hit escape and undo again. So everyone undo that again. So now you know that's the shortcut that if I wasn't on VDI, it would be easy to do both at once. Okay, did that work for everyone? Except for Mac people on VDI who then have the control key issue. It should work. Okay, now there's still some other options and good news, which is now I'm not going to hold on the control keys and nothing. I'm just going to make my window smaller, my frame smaller again, like we did the first time. And once you make it smaller, make it obviously the wrong proportion. So let's make it tall and skinny because our photo wasn't tall and skinny. So make a frame that's tall and skinny. So now you're not holding anything down. So this is just the frame again, what we did before break. So say that my frame is a different size than what I need. How do I make my image fit into this? Fight with buttons. This happens a lot. I believe I have the example. Did I not put that example here? No, I don't have that example here, but I'll show you an example later. Okay, I wanted to see if I had that example. So many times you have a template that already has a format, and the format means that you have that size here, this size here, it needs to go in there. So then how do you fit a photo into that? Well, has everyone got something like this? A tall and skinny frame, and our frame, if you want to confirm, if you touch my photo is still the same. There's that big red. Okay, so then what I need to do is I need to select that frame and go over here on the right. We have this thing called frame fitting. And there's some, let me put the spotlight on so you can see it. There we go. So do you see here, it says frame fitting, and you'll only see it if you have selected the frame. So if the frame is not selected, you won't see it. So select your frame. And then here it says frame fitting. So watch what I'm going to do. And each time I do something, I'm going to do undo. The first one is fill the frame proportionally. So that means the frame will stay the same and the content is going to fill inside of the frame proportionally. So I'm going to click on that. And what happened is that the photo can only fit proportionally in one way, not the other, right? So the top to bottom is correct. Sorry, top to bottom is correct, but if you can see, I'm missing a lot on the two sides, right? But it filled my frame proportionally without distorting my photo. Did that work for you guys? Did that do the same effect? Let's do Control Z to undo that fill frame proportionally. I need to Control Z a few times. Then you have the wrong one in this case, fit content proportionally. So my photo. So I'm going to click on that one and the other one went, what's that? This one went top to bottom and I was missing parts of my, how do you call it? My image. But this one instead, what it did is it went side to side and now I have too much frame there, but the photo is proportional. If I click away, and if I were to now hit the W, for example, that's fine. That's just a perfectly sized, good photo inside of a wrong sized frame, but who cares? As long as the photo looks good in this case, who cares? Okay, so that was the second one. Control Z to get rid of that. Then you have the really bad one, fit content to frame. Guess what's going to happen to this one? This is why I wanted you to have a very different shape. Fit the content. Okay, if you hover over this, see how it says fit content to frame? So my photo went, I got to fit into this little thing. It doesn't work for me. It's like me trying to put on my son's jeans or something. Won't work. Contain Command Z. And then the last one is actually fit the frame to the content. So what's going to happen to the frame? Boom. It's going to go and fit itself around that content, which was much bigger. Okay, so these are all just different ways to kind of quickly, if you have the wrong fit for frame and size, instead of trying to do it by hand. Okay. Anyway, so there's a whole bunch of different things like that. All right, so when that, now go ahead and get rid of this again, hit your big delete key. Now, why does this matter? Because sometimes you have templates. So let's create a little template here. What a template would be is when you have a box ready to go for you to put your stuff in there. So I'm going to grab, if you get all the way down here, you'll see this rectangle frame tool. One under is the rectangle tool. The rectangle tool here is equivalent to Illustrator. You make rectangles with it. And if you click and hold, you make ellipses and polygons. That's not the one we want. We want the one above, which is only for InDesign. InDesign has a frame tool, which if you click and hold, you can also do an elliptical frame or a polygon frame. So I'm going to create a frame. And I'm going to put in this frame, it's just the holder. It's the part that we've been talking about, the frame without the content. I made a really rectangular frame right there. And I'm going to click and hold, and I'm going to make a little elliptical frame. I'm going to make a little circle there. And then I'm going to make, just for the fun of it, a polygonal frame right there. So I've made 3 frames. These frames are supposed to hold some content. Notice that if I select each frame, this one looks rectangular. This one looks circular, but it still has a bounding box that's rectangular. Again, for people who are accustomed to Illustrator, this might be a bit more understandable. And then when I hold in this polygon, so the box, the bounding box, the frame is always rectangular, but this is like a little mask. Okay, so now with this selected, let's go ahead and say select one. Let's start with a different one. Let's start with the circle. Select the elliptical one, the circular one. And it can be, elliptical or circular or whatever. Select that one. And now go and file place. And because since you have it selected, you say file place and you choose which one to place. And this time you don't have to place it. It places inside on its own. But it places at full size. Right? So then you go to one of these guys and you say fit content to frame. And then here you get this photo. The best that it's going to look in a circle is going to be this way, which isn't necessarily too good, but that's what it looks like. Then you can select. So did you notice how you didn't have to click anywhere? Since you're selecting the frame already, the moment you choose it, boom, it drops in. But it drops in at its big size. Like if I were to select this, it came in at its huge size. So then I have to use one of these guys to make it fit. Okay. So I'm gonna fit content proportionally this time. And there it goes. So the ones that are safe are the fill frame proportionally or fit content proportionally. Okay. The one that's always weird is fit content to frame, because then it distorts it. Right. So anyway, many times this is how templates are. They just say, drop your photo in here, drop your photo out there. And when it first comes in, it will come in at whatever size it came in. Okay. And you need to do something with that. You need to make it work. So in this case, I'm going to say fit proportionally. So there you go. Okay. So then you've got your choices. We do a whole in the Illustrate in the well, later I'll bring a document where you're going to have to do a lot of this work. Okay, any questions there? Nope. Yes, maybe. Notice that I'm just having us put in images. We can also bring in text. We can bring in a lot of this other stuff. I'm just having us fill in with this one photo because we've been using it from the beginning, but we could be bringing a logo, could be bringing whatever we bring in. As long as there's a frame, it's a frame to hold stuff, and it can hold any of all these things. All right, so now let's go ahead and select everything. And so delete, you can delete one by one, or like you just saw me do, I clicked and dragged like this to select all three at the same time, which is something, again, if you're in Illustrator, you might do, and hit delete one time, but just not to confuse you. Select one, hit delete, select the other, hit delete. But remember, always with the black arrow tool so that we delete every single thing at the same time. And now we're down to even less than we had when we started. And now I'm done making you bring in things. Other than the final one, we're never going to bring anything in again. We're going to place it one final last time, and I'm going to have us drop it right in place. I might have promised you in vain, because remember the problem that we were finding the end of last class is that when I hit the W, we found that this was a little bit too close for comfort. Remember that? And do you remember what I'm talking about when I say too close for comfort? Who wants to describe that a little bit better? What's the problem that I'm seeing right now? Okay.
The edge of where the pottery is very close to where the bleed might be cut off.
Yeah.
Should be.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, it is safe from being the bleed out, the outside bleed is safe. If you cut it off, life is good. If the trim goes too far, but the trim cut is supposed to go there. So if it goes too far that way, life is good. But if it goes too close this way, then we'll end up with a jar, or in here, a jar that's at the corner. So if this is happening, you can fix this first in Photoshop. You can actually expand your edges in Photoshop. Okay, so we haven't opened Photoshop yet. Let's go open Photoshop. But no, instead of open Photoshop, let me actually show you something cooler than opening Photoshop. So we need to go and modify this image, right? Because right now, this isn't going to work well. So what's the best way to modify this image? Let's go to that link. Here's it is. It tells me where it is, right? If I want to go ahead and modify it, if you hover over all of these different little icons here, you'll see that this is to relink it in case from the CC libraries. We haven't talked about that. I'll click to all missing links. We don't have any missing links. Go to link, or a good one, edit the original. If I edit this original is a PSD file, right? So if I were to click on this, what's going to happen?
Photoshop will open.
Photoshop, exactly. Okay. Now, because I'm in this VDI mode, it's going to take a while, but it's happening. There it is. Photoshop's beginning to work and opening up. Is it opening up for everyone? You might have already had it open, in which case it's already open in Photoshop. But for me, I had to wait for Photoshop to open. It's still opening. So see, all these Adobe programs know where each other's been made. And so when you say you need to edit it, you go straight to that image that you're going to edit. And it opens up. And there it is. I'm in the file that I've been using. Pretty cool. Because remember how many of those Mexico files we had? And which one would you know to go and open to edit? You might know to follow the path or whatever, but this way there's no confusion. This is the one that you're using, clearly. Yeah?
Mine is not,
All right, does everyone have Photoshop opened up with the file ready to go?
mine is not,
Yes.
mine's
Right.
opening in, looks more like a little.
I'm hearing a far off voice. Someone speaking from the far saying something about something's opening. Who's speaking?
Better now?
Hello? I know I hear a teensy little voice saying something. Who is it?
It's Liz. But
Oh, there you go, Liz.
microphone-
I hear you
can
better
hear me?
now. Yeah.
Okay, so mine opened up just a white window, just like photos. It didn't open it in Photoshop.
Oh, because you're on a good old
Is that the
Chrome.
Okay, okay, never mind.
All right. So
Of course.
in your case, go to the file, go to the Google Drive and open, you know which file is the linked one, and open it from there. Yeah, that's a Chromebook thing. She's been having it. The Chromebook doesn't work the way real computers work in some senses, and in this case, that's a problem. But do you know how to find that link, right? You go here and you hover over, you find out where it is, and then you go to your Google Drive and double click on it and it'll open up in Photoshop. Well, maybe you need to open it in Photoshop. How have you go to Bridge? Go to Bridge, find the file that,
Yeah, that's how I open it.
do you need help or you got it?
Nope, I got it. Thank you.
Got it. Okay. All right. So here we are in Photoshop, the original file that we were working in. Okay. So we have one task here, which was to make more space on the sides. But we have another task, which is to teach you something about LinkedIn embedded files. You're like, yay. Oh, okay. I didn't know that's what I was going to learn. Yep. So, how many of you guys know how to, if I want to change the color of this background wall, how would I do that?
Destructively or non-destructively?
Always we work non-destructively. If you're working with me, I'm going to teach you everything non-destructive. If you go to YouTube, they're going to make you do everything destructive and go, yay, look at this awesome picture. And I'm like, aha, cringe,
Then it
but
would
never
be an
mind.
adjustment layer.
Thank you. Yes, Liz, an adjustment layer. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I want this wall to be another color. So I'm going to make a change here, but I don't want it to affect the whole photograph. I only want it to affect the wall. So if this, most of you guys have taken a Photoshop class, if not with me, with someone else, or if you've used it, I think in your answers, you had most of you guys had used Photoshop, maybe not Tadia. I think everyone else had said yes. I'm not sure Candace right now. So if you need to know more about Photoshop, take one of the Photoshop classes, but I'm going to show you a quick way to do this. So if you look here on the left side, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth icon down could look like this little brush. If you click and hold, or it could look like this object selection tool. If you click and hold, it could look like those two mainly are the two that you'll see there. So I want the quick selection tool. And then once you have the quick selection tool, I want you to come here and any part of this green stuff, and then just kind of click and drag around a little bit. And you'll see that you have now a active selection. See how I have these little marching ants, we call them, for an active selection of this background? Yeah? Okay. Now, I kind of had us do a very abrupt selection, which means that now this included, I don't know what yours included or yours didn't include. It might be that yours just got the green and didn't grab, like you just got a little thing like that. Maybe you just got, let me just undo again, Control D. Maybe you just got a little circle there and a circle there. Who knows what you got? But most of the times you probably got all of this. By the way, this is important. I didn't remind you, you need to be selecting your original file. Maybe you didn't call it original, but the background, not the one that has the little duplicate pot that we made, nor the little text that we had made. It has to be the original. And maybe you're working on a different image file right now, but I just want you to make sure that you're on the layer that has this whole background, and then click somewhere on this green. And when you keep clicking, you'll end up having pretty much the whole bottom part of this surrounded by this selection. Is that working out? Okay, now I want us to not include this pot in that selection. So in order to not include this pot, what you need to do now is, and by the way, I'm going to make this brush a little bit bigger by clicking on the arrow tools that I have, not the arrow tools, the bracket keys, or go to this number over here and then drag this up and down a little bit to, yeah, about yay big is fine. It's 153 pixels. Okay, so now I do not want to include this pot in my selection because I don't want to change the color of the pot. I just want to change the color of this green wall. So hold down your Alt or your Option key. Alt or Option key held down. Don't let go. I'm pressing it. You can't see my mouse, but I'm pressing it. Oh. Oh my goodness sake. I lost my VDI. Jesus. No idea why I did that. Oh, I wasn't in the student desktop though. I was in the, is it gonna let me? I was in the employee desktop. Eesh. Ouch. Okay, that's really bad. This happened last time too. Oh, there it is. Is it resetting itself? Okay, good. All right, so back to that. I'm gonna select then my green. Now hold down your Alt or Option key, and now go ahead and click somewhere in this red, and then click somewhere in this white. Just don't touch green with your circle, just somewhere in the white. And then basically you're going to have a selection around your pot, which means that you are not selecting your pot. You're selecting all the green and this floor, but not your pot. Is that working out? Is that working out-ish? Liz, I hear your little teensy weensy voice. Maybe you need to take your volume up or something. All right, good. So now I'm not going to bother to exclude the floor because it's beige. I don't know, maybe I should exclude the floor, but I'm just going to do this as a sample. So let's not exclude the floor. If you're really picky about it, hold down the Option key and then exclude the floor by kind of dragging down at the bottom, but then you're going to run into trouble with that. So I would just say, don't do that right now because it's beyond what we need to learn today. And for those of you who haven't done Photoshop in a while, adjustment layers, you grab them from down here. Bottom of the layers, down here. See these icons? Some people say they can't see the bottom of my key, of my screen. Can you see that I'm moving my mouse over a whole bunch of icons? Yeah, some people say they can't see the bottom right of my screen. I don't know why. Okay, so we're gonna click on this little square, rectangle that has a little red black dot inside of it. That's what we want. That's gonna create, no, I'm sorry. If you did that, go under. That's the layer mask. I want to then the circular one. I'm so sleepy. Say you did what I said, which is not what I want. Go ahead and say Control or Command Z. And instead, this is the one we want, the round one. the round one with black and white. And I want you guys to go to a hue saturation adjustment level. Hue saturation adjustment level. And for some of you guys, it'll appear over here. For some, it'll appear in the middle. I switched again to my different workspace for my morning class. But you'll see somewhere this hue slider, maybe you'll see it in the middle, maybe you'll see it here. And if you start moving this hue slider around, you'll see how we are moving and we are changing the colors of that wall. And I want you to choose the color that best suits your mood right now. And it can be anything you want. I'm going to make mine blue, but that sounds horrible because I just said suits your mood and I'm not feeling blue. I just like this ton of blue. Has everyone been able to change their blue, their green wall, I mean? So we have just used an adjustment layer. I'm going to switch back to the Essentials workspace that you guys have. That way it's easier. So in the Essentials workspace, this usually shows up in here. That way you can see that. Okay, so is everyone okay? You have a different color? Let's just say if you don't have a different color, give me a no. Otherwise, I got it. Okay, so this is looking great. But remember, I told you that anything that happens in here, this is the same file that's in InDesign. So let's go to see what's happening in InDesign. And oh, no, here I still have the green. Here I still have the green file. Huh, interesting. Well,
Is it because we haven't saved it yet?
exactly. The changes are still, if this file was to close right now, I'd lose this change. So anytime you make a change here, it won't be reflected here until this file is saved. So as linked as it is, I can change this for 2 hours. And if I don't save it in InDesign, I'll still look this way. Now, the moment that I'm ready to save it, I'll save it. So let's say file, save. Now, for those of you who picked up my file, your file, maybe you made it pink instead of blue, your file really is the one I'm working with. So you'll have to go with my changes. Just letting you know, a few of you pick my spot. All right, so now I saved it, right? Did you all save it? File save. Cool. Now, Diana must be wrong because look, I come back here and nothing's happening. Well, give it a second. Oh, come now. Don't give it so much of a second. For you guys who are at home, it's probably already happening. But over here, you should have a little yellow warning sign. Do you have a yellow warning sign? It should have gone yellow. Okay, it just changed without going yellow. Now, there you go. I have my blue one. Did you see when it changed? So sometimes it waits for you to update it. And sometimes in this case, it just updated. When it doesn't update automatically, you get a little yellow warning sign here and here, and you need to just click on it and it'll go shoop and it'll update. Okay. But this time it didn't give me the yellow warning sign. It just updated. So see how truly that was the same file and how linked they are? And that this file does not belong to InDesign. It is truly a Photoshop file that I am seeing in InDesign, but in reality, it's any change that I do in here that affects that there. So did it change for everyone? Give me a big yes if whatever change you made has already been updated in the InDesign. Pretty cool, huh? All right. So now let's go back to Photoshop because now the second thing we need to do, and we're out of time, but we wanted to add some more space over here, remember? So first thing we're going to do, I'm going to turn off this adjustment layer because that was just to show you a very visual, obvious example of the fact that the file did change, but I don't really want a blue background or whatever. I mean, you can, if you prefer that color, leave it on. I'm going to turn it off again. But what I'm going to do instead, we're going to add a little bit of space. Do I have time to do this today? Yes, bear with me. We'll finish this up, okay? We'll finish the size. Okay, so let's go. And instead of changing the image size, I don't want to touch my image size, but I need to add some canvas. Need to add some canvas. Canvas is making that artboard a bit bigger, right? Now, there's two ways to do this. Actually, you know what? Instead of showing you this one, let me show you the, I'm not going to show you this way. This is the hand. Okay, if you do it this way, you make the artboard bigger. You get two little transparent strips, and then you fill them in with content aware fill, which I just taught in the Photoshop class. That's one way. But hold on, there's a better way, not a better way, a new way. So I'm going to show you the new way. So if you did open this, that's fine, that works. Cancel it. That's how we've done it for 25 years, but there's a new way. Over here to the crop tool, to the Photoshop crop tool. And then here at the top, go to content aware and turn on content aware. Turn on content aware. You see where I'm showing that to you? So you have to be in the crop tool, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. Otherwise, hold the C in your keyboard, and the C in your keyboard gives you the crop tool. And then at the very far end of it, I need to make sure that you all have the content aware turned on. Is that working? Now, we all have this ratio here of 625 by 45, right? Everyone still have that ratio there? Because that's, you know why it stays there? Because everything stays until you change it. So all the settings are always in Photoshop stay in the last way you use them. That's why this still says that, even though we did it a few weeks ago. Okay, so now watch what I'm going to do. Watch, watch, watch. I'm going to grab this bottom right corner because we want to add some space here and space there. Linda, I got you. Give me a sec. Grab this here. This is my mouse. I'm grabbing this corner and I'm going to expand outwards proportionally, right? So I'm going to do this. And I have added a little bit of space to the right, and look what's going to happen when I let go. I'm having it do a content aware. We might have to still do it with a content aware fill. I thought that it should have automatically. Give me a second there while I'm trying to see if Photoshop. No. Okay, so then what I thought it was going to do, which is give us more.
What if you click it after you resize the canvas? If you
Yeah,
turn
I'm
it on
trying
and
to
off again.
see, I'm trying to think of how much space we're going to need, because by doing it proportionally, see, normally I do this with canvas size and I add the exact same amount on both sides. But by doing it proportionally, I'm adding less to the bottom or to the right. But it's as long as I add more than I need, I guess that's good enough. So, okay, I'll just add and eyeball it for now. I'll add a little bit more because it's still going to be proportional. So that's fine. Okay, and now we're going to say go by either hitting return or by clicking the check mark or by double clicking in here. Those are the three ways to activate this. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. And then Photoshop now is giving me this thing because it's analyzing the image and it's going to try to fill that in, those two edges, with something that it thinks might work. And let's see what it does and if we like the result. Pretty cool. Did you see that happening? Not bad. Not totally happy with that, but only because I know that it's fake. If I didn't know that it's fake, I would just think the texture of the wall changed. That's all. All right. Okay. So once again, I'm going to undo that. I went to my crop tool. Okay. And as long as content aware is on, you resize it. In this case, it's still maintaining the resolution that it had before. And I'm going to stretch it out. And now I heard you say, by the way, Linda, that it wasn't working for you. So I'm going to go now, make it a little bit bigger, fit it to the size that you think you want. I probably would do it with numbers, but right now, since class is technically over, I want to just do it this way. Hit the return, hit enter, and it'll work. So Linda, while this is doing its magic again, did it work now? Your hand is down. Okay, Ryan's hand is up too. So let me go with Ryan first. Because Ryan, I'm going to stop my share. What's happening, Ryan?
The content aware, it won't let me select it. It's a little icon instead of a check mark, and it
Uh-huh.
won't let me
Can
click on it.
you, can you share your screen? Is that the same thing that's happening with you, Linda?
You're probably in the wrong
Same
layer.
with me.
Yeah, so one of you guys share your screen. Who else said me too? Mary?
Yeah,
No.
Mason.
Mason.
The same problem.
All right,
Yeah,
so one of
it
you
happened
guys
to
share
me
your
too.
screen.
It happened to me too, but I was in the wrong layer. Need to be in the
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so no, but you're not in the wrong layer. You're in the
I
right
shared
layer.
the screen.
Yeah, I'm watching.
And then this one is gray out. It just won't let me select.
Okay, so you're not in a layered file though. Go ahead and say cancel, and how you say, just hit the escape key to move out of that.
Cancel.
Hit your escape key. Escape. Okay. Go down to your layers. And did you notice how someone before grabbed that color and that color area and made it smaller because we don't need it so big? Mary was showing me, and I asked her, Mason,
Yeah.
listen, I want you to make all that big red, huge red color palette smaller because we don't need it so big. Yeah,
Sorry.
there we go. Okay, so see what layer you're selecting. It's
The
not the layer
original.
that we needed. Yeah, so click the original.
That's the original, yes.
Yeah, click on it.
Mm.
You need to select it. There we go. Now go
Oh,
back to the crop tool. Oh, because you had already done you
The
already did a crop though. So you
Uh-huh.
need to first undo. So wait, first undo. Go ahead and Control Z.
mhm.
Okay. And now go back to the move tool because you kind of need to reset the tool. Yeah, and then go back to the crop tool again. Cool. Now go and grab that
Oh, no, okay.
bottom, or you can do it to the right as long as it's proportional. Bottom, you do both at once. Yeah, let go. And now say okay. And it's thinking, and there you go.
Okay, just because I didn't select right here.
Always selecting you know, at the very beginning, was it your group who I told you about selecting or not auto selecting a layer and how that was confusing? But to me, it's more important not to auto select because then you learn always to select your layer because that, teaches you that. So now hopefully that explained it to all four of you from whom it wasn't working. Is that so? Is it working now for you, Ryan?
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
got
you
it.
said it now. And Linda? Did it work for you too? Okay, Tadia, you got yours?
Yes, it's working.
Liz, everyone else? Cool. All right, so
Well,
yeah.
let's link back to the InDesign.
Yeah, so here's the thing. We've changed the size of this, right? So
Mhm.
anyway, right now, I haven't saved yet. So if I go back to InDesign, it's still blue and too close to my edge. So first I need to do what?
Save.
Save. And that's why I changed the color again so that we can be really clear that it happened, because this might be a bit more minor, but the color, by turning off this colored layer, now for sure I'll
Can
know.
you show the screen?
Oh, thank you. So what I was saying is the reason I had us turn off this color is because right now I've got blue here again. And while it might be a little bit harder to see if the vase fits better or not, for sure you'll see the color change again. And so now let's save this file save, or Command or Control S. Once it's saved, let's head back to InDesign and wait for it to do its little update thing. Oh, this time it did it. This time it has a little warning sign. See, it's not automatically updating. it's showing me the link is something weird with it. And basically what's weird, if I hover over it, it says it's been modified. Okay, here too, it's been modified, double click to update. So just double click and boom, it updates. And now if I hit the W, I'll see that, yeah, I'm pretty safe. Even if it cuts in the entire bleed's worth both ways, then it probably will not touch my vase either way. Does that make sense? You might want to add more or less, but there you go. All working in conjunction with Photoshop and InDesign, just updating the things that you do in Photoshop and using Content Aware to give us that extra space that we needed. Now we finally do really truly have something that we can now put some text on the logo and whatever and complete our postcard, which we shall do. So what is it that they used to say? Sign in next week at the same time, the channel. Not much, like we started and it looked almost like this, but now it is a lot more knowledge in your belt, and we have a safe image from being shut. Okay, and hopefully, I repeat, I really want to see, and save this too, I really want to see your guys's work. Now, normally at this point, I also need to see your guys's work. You're such a small class that when you share your screen, I'm kind of seeing what you're doing and it's kind of working and we're all working on the same thing. When it's a big class, you have to submit your files to me, because the only way I can give you a grade at the end of this class is if I see your files. So people who haven't shared their work with me, like Candace, even, you know, this is a non-credit class, but this is a graded class. It's a pass, no pass class. So I need to see your work. I need to see you doing it. If you just attend by watching, that's a no pass, because I need to give you a certificate that you learned how to do this. And if I don't see you do it, I can't give you a pass. Okay. So if for any reason the certificate matters to you, you need to give me the work. If the certificate doesn't matter to you and you're just trying to learn, then hey, I don't care. It's a no pass. Ideally, you will put hands on and do it and show it to me, and then it'll be a pass. Okay. So again, I'm not trying to threaten anyone with a grade, because some of you guys didn't even know this was a certificate. Some of you guys were like, oh, I'm just learning Illustrator and design. But it is part of a certificate that if you want to take, you need to pass it. For that, I need to see your work. All right. Cool. We shall pick up where we left off. I will put this file now in the things to catch up in case someone needs it for next week. But other than that, the recording will be on later tonight, but for sure by Saturday morning. And have a great weekend. And my voice, by the way, it's still here, so all's good on this side. Hopefully all's good on your side too. Candace, are you there? Because I needed to tell you how to make your applications that you bought work. Are you still there? If you're answering, by the way, you're muted, so I can't hear you. But I need to talk to you. Yeah, there you are. Okay, so everyone, she bought the program and she can't make it work. So if anyone's in that situation or will be in that situation, because you will be buying it, you might want to pay attention, because I'm going to help her make her application work. Okay, if you don't need that, then that's it. I'll see you next week.
Thank you. Can you leave this on the recording? Just in
Oh, yeah,
case?
yeah, I'm still recording. So yeah.
Okay, great. Have a great week, and see you next Friday. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Bye, everyone. All right, so Candace,
Yes.
can you speak a little bit louder? I can barely hear you.
Yes.
There you go. Got it. All right, so you bought it through the whole thing that I showed you, right? The California.
Yes, it
They-
was,
Okay,
yeah, I bought
Got it.
it. They said I got it. They said it was shipped. I could download it, but I can only access tutorials.
okay. So here's the thing. Is there any way? Here's the problem. When you signed up for it, did you use your pipeline email address?
I don't think so. It came to my phone, and my phone is not linked to my,
Okay, so there's
pipeline.
there's your problem, because I did say many times, but even though I say it many times, it doesn't mean that it's easy to remember when you're doing it, because this has happened a lot. So it happens to a lot of people. When they ask you for your email address, you gave them your personal address.
Yes, and
And so-
I've since added the other address.
All right. So when they sent it to you, normally the way it would work is they send it to you give them your pipeline account. They send it to your pipeline account, you install it and it all works just fine. But when you give them your personal address, send your personal address and you try to install it as a personal file, it's a mess. Because then they go, oh, but this is not a school address. And we sold it to you at this price because you're a student. Does that make sense? And a student, the only way to prove you're a student is using your pipeline email address. Got it?
I had that in there because they gave me permission. They said the school had approved it, so they must have my pipeline
Yeah.
address.
No, the school it's an automatic thing that they know that it's not a single person has ever approved it. What they do is they check and automatically there's a way that people who buy things with student discounts can check and the school automatically responds whether that pipeline exists or not. That's really it, how they check it whether you're a student or not. Right? So it's an automatic process. No one has given permission to anything. So meaning the fact that you're a student, an active student, is what gave you the permission. So here's the deal. When you install it, that's the moment when you open up your Creative Cloud Adobe account where you need to say that it is a personal account, not a school account. And it's kind of weird because you need to use your pipeline address, but you need to install it as a personal account, which is bizarre because you bought it personally using your pipeline account. So you probably either use your personal email or you probably told them it was a school account. A school account would be something that the school is paying for and setting you up with, which you're not. So you basically need to go and change all of those settings. I can help you with that if you can share your screen. Other than that, you need to figure it out on your own. There's no one at school who can help you with this. You know what I mean? You
I
ask
can
for a
share my
person.
screen.
Okay, so go ahead and share your screen.
I've clicked share screen now.
Okay, so when you click share screen, then are you on a Mac or on a PC?
PC.
Okay, then you need to go say desktop, click on desktop, and then on the bottom right of that same window, there's another button that says share. So this is the second share button. Bottom right. Do you see it?
I see in the middle of my screen, it says I can share the green button. So I hit that.
Okay, then you get a lot of little windows and the top left one says desktop. So make sure if you do nothing else, that's the default selected. That's good. Now, in the bottom of this new window,
Oh, here, wait a minute.
on
Here,
the bottom
share over
right,
here.
there's a share. There you go. Perfect. It's two shares that you need to click. All right. Okay, so you can minimize all of this. We don't need any of this anymore. Wait, you do have Bridge though.
But it doesn't let me use it. This boy's face,
Oh.
it just goes into a circle over and over. If I file, save it, it just totally goes into a circle.
Okay, so close it all up then. You need to first sign into the right account. Okay. So no, that was minimizing it, not closing it. So go back to Bridge down in the bot. Yeah, and then just completely close it. So go, yeah. Okay, so now go to your Adobe Creative Cloud on the bottom, in the middle of the left. Yeah, double click on that. Okay. So now go up to that kind of like a white, a blue circle on the top right that has like a little chunk, like a little, yeah, that
Yeah.
one. Click on that. That's your account. Click on that. Okay. It is your pipeline, but you probably said it was a school account.
I probably said it was a
Just
school account.
Go ahead and sign out. And please know that's fine. Say continue. All right, so now email address, put your whole pipeline account in there. You need to click there under email address
Sorry.
and write your whole pipeline thing. Cool, continue.
With
No, just the word
just
continue.
continue.
Okay, username and password. Just username. Mhm. Okay, and now password. Okay. Let's hope it puts you through the paces again and doesn't just make an assumption. No, darn it. It needs to ask you again, personal. Private. If not, we need to maybe see if we can go into the, if I can't help you fix it, then you
Yeah.
need to call Adobe and get some help from them, but they don't like to give you help because they don't know about this place.
Okay.
Okay, so it didn't work. So go up to that little account thing again, to the blue circle. And go to the preferences, I guess, or Adobe account. I wonder. Go to Adobe account. No, not preferences. Go to Adobe account.
So just,
Yeah, so go ahead and say done to this. And then go back up to the same thing and go to Adobe account. Okay, so drag this up a little bit. See, you're set up as if you're a city college plan, which is not what it is. And go and see if you can edit profile. Otherwise, this is something that only they can. Well, it says plans and payment. Hold on. Up above, it says plans and payment. You see the next choice after account and security. Let me see if it lets you go to plans. And see. Orders and invoices. Oh, go to
Diana?
I've checked all this
Yes.
stuff.
This is Lisa. This
Hey,
has
Lisa.
happened to me twice with my Creative Cloud,
Yeah.
where it would not let me access,
Mhm.
you know, Photoshop or Illustrator.
Yeah,
And so I had to call them,
yeah.
and
That's what I was
they,
gonna say. They need to
yeah,
change
and
it.
they had to, it's a for sure a glitch on their end. And
Yeah.
mine was like, mine let me use it for like a while, and then then I
Well,
was like locked
because
out
it
of it.
get, you know why? Because it gives you that trial period that
No,
everyone has.
I was on a year plan.
Oh,
This-
wow.
This actually just happened to me just before the Photoshop class that I started a few months
Oh.
ago with you.
Wow.
So it, you know, I don't know if it's because it'd been a couple months since I hadn't used it, but it was still, my plan was a
Oh.
12-month plan. It doesn't expire until July.
Wow.
Still have that phone number?
Well,
That-
go
Good
back to the,
question.
go back to overview. It had a way of reaching, go to account overview. When you started, it said contact us, and I'm trying. Yeah, let's see. Not there. Go back. Okay, close this tab, close this tab and go back to the Adobe Creative Cloud on the bottom. Or don't close it, but yeah, close it
Close
or
this?
don't. Yeah, close it. Mhm. And then go back to that little round circle. Yeah, and under Adobe account, there it says Help Center and Contact Us. See that? So I wouldn't know, Help Center is going to give you canned answers, which none
Yeah,
of them
I've-
will
I've-
answer this. So
Okay.
right underneath that, where it says Contact Us, you can probably get it from this one too, but no, from your circle.
Contact us. Here's something. Whoops.
Okay, well then there too, set up and
There's my phone number.
yeah, so go
Yeah,
back
I've-
to, you need to sign in. You're not
Oh.
signed in here. That's the problem. So close out of that, close out of this again and go back to yours, which is this one. Yeah, the one you installed. Click on that. And then the bottom choice is contact us. There we go. And then that's, I guess, is that a chat? I guess it's opening up. please contact your administrator. So visit the Adobe, because see, it thinks, that's why it doesn't want to help you.
No.
Because it thinks you're part of the thing. So,
I've spent hours and hours on this trying to figure it out, and
yeah, so you need to then just don't go through this because this one thinks that you are an admin. Go to the online help down there. See, there's a little line there and find a way to contact them. Do you know, Lisa, how you ended up? Go to the regular Adobe
Yeah.
online help.
You know what I did? I went to, well, for me, it was in my pipeline. I went to the email that I originally got after
Oh,
when I
there you
purchased
go.
it.
Okay,
I went to that email and started there with contacting them through they had contacts, and I'm not
Okay.
recalling the top of my head, but that's where I started.
that's the clear way.
There.
So basically, Candace, you need to say, I made a mistake and I said that it was a school account and it's not. It's a personal one. I use my school address, but it's a personal account. I purchased it with my own money. And they need to shift something in there in the background to change your account because you can't willy-nilly change it. And once you told them it's one thing, that's what they think it is.
okay, I will do that.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I
thank you
thought,
for
I
your
thought
help.
we could maybe switch it here, but especially, I'm glad, Lisa, you hung out to give us your
I literally,
feedback
I
because,
literally stayed on for this reason. I'm just working out my desk and other things because I kind of felt like that where it might be
Yeah.
going.
you might be heading, yeah, so thank
And-
you.
And, you know, I only missed those other two classes. I was still, because my phone and my computer, I don't have my Apple
Mhm.
email here. I was typing in the access code to the Zoom meeting and it
Mm.
wouldn't let, the first week it let me in, the other 2 weeks it wouldn't let me in.
Hmm.
So I have been reading all your
Mhm.
tutorials and
Uh-huh.
the
Okay.
classes. It's been,
Have you been watching the videos?
I've watched all of them, yes.
Well, then, as
But
soon as you
this
get
is
the
just-
applications running, you
Yeah,
can make it
that's-
work, or
Okay.
until, if this for any reason gives you more of a runaround, access it
Yeah,
through
I'll
VDI
have to go-
and use it
yeah.
until this works. And some people have
Okay.
told me that this gets fixed the first time they call, and other people have told me it takes a couple of weeks because every time you call, they're not answering, it's not fun.
No, it's been just a nightmare. So
Yeah,
thank you for all
yeah.
your help.
So no, you're welcome. Okay,
Okay.
so
All right,
hopefully
next
it'll all
week.
fix itself and next week you can work with us. I'll put the files that we've had up until now there. But if
Okay.
you get a chance to do them yourself, then you'll actually learn more than just picking mine out. But
Absolutely.
I'll still have them there for you. All right?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay,
And thank you,
you're
Lisa.
welcome.
Bye.
Okay. Bye,
Bye.
guys. Thanks, Lisa.
Bye.
That was
You're
really
welcome.
helpful.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, bye.